to San Diego. Move number 5 for departure. Like this, we're going to have project.
and the seatbelt sign has been turned off. Please keep the eyes clear of all personal belongings until we are parked at the gate area. After the fasten seatbelt sign has been turned off, please check seat back compartments and overhead bins for any items that you may have brought with you. Be careful when opening overhead bins because falling objects can cause injury to yours and one seated near you. Other electronic devices, including cell phones and Google images, must remain off until we arrive at the gate, and the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign. This afternoon we will be deploying by stairs, so please be careful when exiting this aircraft. Watch your step, watch your head. If you check your bags play inside, please step clear of the stairs and wait for your bags to allow other passengers to gain entrance to the terminal. On behalf of the flight crew, we thank you very much for choosing American Eagle, a member of the One World Alliance.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated until the seatbelt sign has been turned off and the aircraft is coming to a wide stop again. Please bring me out the road.
Taj Mahal, the pyramids of Egypt, the Great Wall of China, Westminster Abbey, Hamlet's Castle in Helsingør, Denmark, and their most recent addition is a piece from the Berlin Wall. Tower designed by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, sold to the local NBC affiliate WMAQ-TV Channel 5. For all of you talk show fans, the sculpture that you see to the left-hand side of the bridge symbolizes the city of Chicago rising from the waves of Lake Michigan. You may notice that that statue has a sheaf of grain in one hand and a cow under the other. Chicago was at one time the butchering capital of the world, because the slaughterhouse is on the south side of the city, and Chicago does have the world's busiest grain market, the Board of Trade. The Sheraton Chicago Hotel, one of the newer hotels here in the city, and has 1,200 guest rooms and boasts the Midwest's largest ballroom with a dance floor about the size of an American football field. At the river's edge in front of the fountain, you can see a granite pyramid that houses a water cannon that shoots an arc of water across the river for the first 10 minutes of every hour between 10 a.m. Behind the fountain to our left is the River East Terminal, a rehab warehouse that in its heyday was actually longer than the Sears Tower is tall, by about 170 feet. Our residential building, and the only residential building you'll find in the city of Chicago that has been built on the east side of Lakeshore Drive. It's based on an original design by architect Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, and it was intended to be an office building in Berlin in the 1920s that never ended up being built. Or later, some of his students at IIT, after he moved to the United States, found those plans and modified them slightly to come up with what you see today. Because of Lake Point Tower's unique three-leaf clover-shaped design, every one of its residents is afforded a view of the water. Schipperite and Heinrich are the architects credited with that design. Ahead of us to our right, with the trailside gates almost open, is the Chicago Harbor Lock. A little history as to how and why the lock got here. Around the turn of the century, the river was rather polluted as it had been acted as the main sewer for the city of Chicago for a number of years. The problem is the river flowed out into Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan was and still is the city's main source of drinking water. And we had a series of typhoid and cholera epidemics that decimated the city's population, killing off actually about 20% of her people. Unfortunately, in the late 1800s, technology didn't exist to treat polluted water. Their only recourse was to find a way to make the river flow away from the lake. They achieved this by building a 26-mile man-made sanitary and shipping canal that connected the south branch of the Chicago River to the Des Plaines, Illinois, and Mississippi river systems. Since those are successively lower bodies of water, once they opened up that canal, the river started to flow away from the lake, flushing our garbage downstream to St. Louis, Memphis, and New Orleans. Now, this was the perfect solution to our pollution problem. Gilman, Wisconsin decided to sue the city of Chicago, claiming that we were taking more than our share of water from the lake. For the end result of that lawsuit was for the Army Corps of Engineers to come out and build the Chicago Hub, Michigan. As we do, we will be securing this rather heavy steel boat alongside of a concrete seawall. Once all the other vessels have entered the lock and secured to the lock chamber wall, they'll begin to close the gates on the riverside. Once those gates are completely closed, will be sealed off from the Chicago River. They will then open an identical set of gates on the lakeside, allowing 1 million gallons of Lake Michigan water to flood into this lock chamber, and it'll raise us up to the level of Lake Michigan. It's kind of like filling up a giant bathtub. As I said, the lock was built to regulate and control the amount of water that comes into the river system, and it's actually the second busiest lock in the United States for boating traffic. It's kind of a small lock, though, as far as locks are concerned. It's only 600 feet long, 80 feet wide, and about 22 feet deep at river level. It's owned, operated, and maintained by the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Under normal circumstances, when they're not working on the lock, it's a first-come, first-served basis. Once we do leave the Chicago Harbor Lock, we'll be heading out to Lake Michigan, which is the third largest of the 5 Great Lakes in the area. It's also the second largest in volume of water. It's 108 miles wide, 307 miles long, and at its deepest point, it's 923 feet deep, just outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin. If you look behind us now, you can see that the gates on the riverside have begun to close. Once those gates are completely closed, they'll open the gates on the lakeside, and as I said before, 1 million gallons of Lake Michigan water will come flooding into this chamber, filling up a giant bathtub to raise us up to Lake Michigan level. It'll take just under a minute's period of time for the vessel to be at lake level, and there are no pumps or machinery involved in the movement of the water throughout the lock. It's all fed by gravity. If you look ahead of us now, you can see that the gates on the lakeside have opened and the 1 million gallons of water is filling up the chamber. The lot to our left is a 3,000-foot recreational pier called Navy. The name was later changed to Navy Pier to honor the sailors of the United States Navy who lost their lives in World War I. As I said, it started out as a recreational pier, but it has served a number of purposes throughout the years. During World War II, in the 80s, it was actually starting to fall into disrepair until the city and state could get together and formulate a plan to undergo a massive renovation. A 15-story Ferris wheel, a carousel, a small convention center, a big room, and a grand ballroom. The grand ballroom is down here at the end of the green roof of 2 towers. It is basically the only remaining structure from the original Navy Pier. It is available for public rental if you enjoy yourself a grand party at the grand ballroom. You can swing the grand price of $7,000 an hour. I have this tour guide to the Chicago Harbor Lighthouse, marking the entrance to the Chicago Harbor area. The concrete seawall that leads off to the left and right of that building is the Chicago Harbor Break Wall. The break wall serves to protect the shoreline from erosion by breaking down big waves that can be picked up by the easterly and northeasterly winds. Plant supplies drinking water to the city of Chicago and over 80 suburbs. To our right, about 2.5 miles offshore, you can see a couple of circular buildings. That's the Carter Harrison Water Intake Crib. Water is pumped from the intake crib through 16-foot tunnels laid along the bed of the lake into the purification plant. The brown brick building that you see behind the purification plant with the blue cathedral-style roof is 680 North Lakeshore Drive, formerly known as the American Furniture Mart. It was originally designed to be a Zeppelin port to house more airships and dirigibles, but it was never used for those purposes due to the accident at the Hindenburg. The tall black tapered building at the center of the north side is the 100-story John Hancock building designed by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. It is the third tallest building here in the city, and there's an observation deck on the 94th floor, as well as a restaurant lounge on the 95th floor. Area ahead of us is Olympic Park, called the Olympic Park Zoo, one of the country's oldest, most often visited zoos. Instead of sitting on the bow, you need to come down. Hey. By that land. Unfortunately, though, those homes and mansions have been torn down and replaced with offices and condominiums, but it is still one of the country's most expensive neighborhoods, which is why they've kept the name Gold Coast. We're going to be making our turn here to head south toward the downtown section of the city. I'll resume the narration once we get down there. If at any time you have any questions, please feel free to stop by the whalehouse on the right or starboard side of the boat. The captain and I will do our best to come up with an answer for you. Is the world headquarters of the CNA Insurance Company. The tree-lined area along the lakefront is called Grant Park, named after Ulysses Grant, the 18th President of the United States. It's built primarily on debris and landfill from the Great Chicago Fire. At the center of Grant Park is the world's largest illuminated fountain, Buckingham Fountain, built by Kate Buckingham and donated to the city in honor of her brother Clarence, who was killed in World War I. Every evening between 9 and 11, Buckingham Fountain puts on a beautiful colored light and water display. The boats that you see along the shoreline make up the Monroe Street Yacht Harbor, the city's largest yacht harbor. The height of boating season is home to over 1,000 sailboats and yachts. Looking at the Amoco building once again, the tall white building with the black vertical lines. To its left, you can see a tan building with a single white antenna. That is the old Prudential building, or One Prudential Plaza. To tell you how much our skyline has changed in under 40 years, up until the early 60s, the old Prudential building was the tallest in the city. Directly ahead of us, the small dome building that you see is the Adler Planetarium, built in 1933 for the Century of Progress World's Fair. When it was open, it was the first planetarium in the country open to the general public. To its left, the low-lying black factory-type building that you see there is McCormick Place, the world's largest indoor exhibition hall. To the right of the planetarium, if you look through the trees, you can see the columns of Soldier Field, home to the Chicago Bears football team, the Chicago Fire soccer team, and host to various concerts and festivals throughout the summer month. To the right of the aquarium, you can see the columned entrance of the Field Museum of Natural History. Of Natural History is in possession of the world's foremost collection of artifacts. In fact, there are so many artifacts at the Field Museum that only 2% can be on display at any one time. The other 98% is either kept in storage or loaned to various universities and museums throughout the world.
저기 설계하는 사람이 진짜 육상팀에서 한 거예요.
We'll be making our turn here in just a few moments to head back toward the Chicago Harbor Lock. I'll resume the narration when we get up there. As I said before, if you have any questions, please. This time through the lock, we will reverse the process. They'll close the gates on the lakeside and open the gates on the riverside, which will allow the 1 million gallons of Lake Michigan water currently in the chamber to flow into the Chicago River. It'll make its way down the Chicago River, out through the Sanitary and Shipping Canal, then to the Des Plaines, the Illinois, and the Mississippi. As we pull into the lock, we will once again secure this vessel alongside of the concrete seawall off of the left or port side. So for your safety, once again, those of you sitting on the left-hand side of the boat, please stay. Once again, for your safety, those of you on the left-hand side, stay inside the rails of the boat at all times. note is the Wrigley Building, designed by Graham Anderson, Probst & White. It was the first commercial building built on the north side of the river. The building itself is covered with a white terracotta, which is a baked clay surface that is so delicate they actually have to wash the building by hand, and that's done once every several years. Ahead of us, the warehouse-style building that you see is the Chicago Sun-Times building. The Sun-Times this year is celebrating their 50th anniversary of publishing the Sun-Times here in the city. Behind it, the tall black building that you see is the IBM building, the last building ever designed by noted architect Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Van der Rohe is credited with creating the popular. Ahead of us to our left, the cream-colored ornate building with the dome on top is 35 East Wacker Drive, formerly known as the Jewelers Building, and housed most of the city's jewelers in the late 1800s. Was quite unique in the fact that there was a freight elevator that ran through the central part of that building. The jewelers, often concerned with safety, could drive their car onto that elevator and park on the floor that they worked at. That elevator soon proved to be impractical, as the length of the car soon exceeded the size of the elevator, and it was removed and replaced with offices. Up in that dome on top is where the German architect Helmut Jahn makes his unofficial home. That is his office here, as he's made Chicago his unofficial home. He's designed a number of buildings here in the city of Chicago, such as the James R. Thompson State of Illinois building.
The fire boat! Yeah, there's the fire. It looks like the fire boat. What is that? Chicago fire boat.
Ahead of us is the State Street Bridge, and State Street divides east and west in the coastal adjournment, which runs through a tunnel guard beneath the river about 50 feet below us. The artwork that you see on the underside of the bridge is on loan to the city of Chicago by the belching artist Nancy Van Meer. It's on his worldwide tour of bridges. I'm going to be here till the House of Blues nightclub and the Smith & Walensky Steakhouse. To our right, the dark gray building with the silver-trimmed windows is the Leo Burnett building, designed by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. The Leo Burnett Advertising Agency has brought us such characters throughout the years as Tony the Tiger, Charlie the Tuna, Snuff Crackling Pop, and the Pillsbury Doughboy. Coming into view on our left-hand side now, the light gray building with the mirrored windows is 77 West Wacker. White Portuguese granite built over a steel frame. The building with the green windows to our right is the lobby of that building may catch a glimpse of what is reported to be the world's largest oatmeal boxes.
By where your mommy works. Is that where your mom works? Where? Right there? Is that where your mommy works?
Coming into view on our right-hand side, this red brick building is the City of Chicago Central Office building, designed by George Nimmons, known for his functional designs. It's kind of unpopular here in the city, though, as it is home to traffic court. If you look close, the building was removed to accommodate the expansion of LaSalle Street. District of the city, which is how it got the nickname the Loop. You can see the elevated train passing over it right now. Beyond the bridge to our right is the Merchandise Mart, designed by Graham Anderson, Probst & White. It's the Midwest Center for the wholesale industry. It is the fourth largest building in the world at 97 acres of floor space, and so much mail is sent and received at this address. This is the famous merchants from the Chicago area, such as Marshall Field, Montgomery Ward, and Frank Woolworth. The tan building to our right beyond the bridge is the Apparel Mart, works very closely with the Merchandise Mart, as it is the Midwest Center for the fashion industry. The Apparel Mart is built on a piece of land called Wolf Point. We're entering a part of the river called the Y, or the Junction, where all three branches of the Chicago River meet. We're leaving the main branch of the river to head to our left on the South Branch. To our left, the building with the green windows is 333 West Wacker Drive, designed by the New York firm of Cohn, Peters, Fox & Will. It's done in a style of architecture known as contextual, which means it embraces its surroundings. The bridges that we've been passing under on our river tour are known as double leaf or bascule type bridges. They open in the center in a jackknife fashion and are often simply referred to as Chicago-style bridges. Chicago as a city has more movables are called bridge houses. It is from here that the bridge operators raise and lower the bridges as needed. As we continue our river tour, if you were looking closely at the bridge houses and hand railings that run from side to side along the bridges, you'll notice that no two sets of bridge houses nor hand railings are exactly the same. This was part of the building code enacted to ensure architectural variation along a piece of land where a very historic building once stood. That building was known as the Wigwam, and it was a temporary convention center where in 1860 the Republican Party nominated Abraham Lincoln for president. The 1860 convention was the first in a series of 23 political conventions, making Chicago Plaza in its design, and one of the first buildings to utilize air rights construction, which I'll explain to you in a few moments. To our left, beyond the bridge, is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange designed by Fujikawa Johnson and Associates. Direction. This is to accommodate the fierce winds known to whip through this city.
여기는 시얼스 그 백화점에 다니는데 컴퓨터 프로그래머. 그 여자는 옛날 나하고 방송국에 같이 아나운서 했어. 여자는. 이제 친구가 여기 제일 먼저 이사. 최근에 승리 이 집은 저쪽에 옛날에. 눈에가 뱀벌이가 안 보여가지고 말이야. 나 가만히 학교에 쭉 들어오는 길이 생각이 나더라고. 집 찾기 참 쉽게 만들어놨어요.
네. 아빠 오픈 윈도 해주세요.
네.
이렇게 하려고 저기 어디 보자. 일산의 전원주택. 아무리 하려고 그래도 쫓아가 나.
집에 안 가요? 어디 가요?
엄마랑 전부 다 저기 피싱하고 있어. 승리네.
피싱가?
너희 집에서 피싱한다. 마! 왜 딱 됐어?
우리 피시 할 거예요? 아니면 픽업핑 할 거예요?
픽업 해야지. 피싱하고 싶어?
응.
아, 형아 이제 피싱 다 끝났을 텐데 뭐.
응?
너 승리 집에 놀고 있을래? 응?
한가.
형아도 놀고 있겠지 너.
오케이. 엄마 그 다 거기 둘지요?
네. 자,
네?
슬기 뭘 사준다고 그래? 뭐 사주려고 그래? 뭐 띵띵했어?
birthday present.
이게 뭘 사주려고?
몰라. 근데 앞에서는 그런 거 그때 로가 같은 거 그런 거 사거든요.
그렇지. 그거 사러 가지. 나는 좁다 이제 아저씨들과 우리 어디 나갈 거니까 같이 가려고 하고. 어?
어디요?
응?
어디요?
그냥 이게 아이스 하킹 하는 거야.
쇼핑?
여기서 하면 돼요. 땅이 이렇게 비옥하면. 우리 낚시하면 오리도 물어나야 돼. 오리 새끼 탁 풀어야지. 오리도 한번 물려가지고 풀어주고 살자.
아, 그럼 뭐하러 찍어, 쪽팔리게.
바짝 들어. 더 일어서서.
상승 같다, 상어.
더 들어, 더 들어. 이거는
나오지도 않아. 아이씨. 알긴 한데. 키워놓지도 않았었어요. 야, 낚싯대 끄네. 아이씨.
찍지도 못해, 그래?
아이.
어디 있어?
내 거다, 내 거.
큰 것도 아닌데.
야, 껌껌
그냥,
힘이 더 좋아.
그냥 씹어 던져. 응?
어디가 걸렸지? 이렇게 있으면 물려 이게? 네 개 사오라고, 네 개. 누가 낚시해요? 낚시기대는. 낚시가 지금.
그리고
아빠 잡고.